Oh, the simplest of podcasts on wheat and gluten allergy. Magnesium and histidine come together to break down the wheat. That is part of how the wheat is broken down. And the viscosity of the magnesium allows for the cell walls and the enterocytes to not be so sticky, to allow this stickiness to happen. It allows for a traction viscosity, which is what I'm calling it, which is different from a viscosity which is totally slippery. There's actually a little traction there, and this feature, the water-bearing capacity of magnesium chloride, allows for this dry oil kind of texture, and this feature allows for a lack of stickiness of these proteins onto the structure. So we need those levels of magnesium to be high if we want to avoid the stickiness and the fixation of these proteins onto the gut wall to such intensity. If they fix in a lesser intensity, then they move along and there's kind of a natural thing that happens. But when they fix with such intensity, well, there you go, you have a problem. Now, of course, wheat in and of itself has to be controlled to a certain degree because there's bad things we've done. We've separated wheat from rye in the farm because those breads are no longer popular, and that destroyed the soils. They were meant to be together, and there was a lot of truth historically in bread making around this fact. And so we've done a lot of things from monoculturing on down to hybridization to how we process the grains too quickly and no sprouting and just everything is just rapid and steel blades, and then we the steel blade, also the mill, which breaks it down into flour, violently destroying a lot of the vitamins and making every particle come into contact with light immediately. Like all of this like technological stuff into food making has created a lot of havoc. So those things are real too, but within the body, this is the inner side that I'm getting to with the magnesium, that this viscosity does help with that, the way that it's going to stick or not stick. Of course, so does bacteria and fermentation and all these other techniques to break those things down and get them right. So none of those things can be overlooked. But at the gut level, we need the magnesium to be high enough, and we also need healthy fats. We need we need these structures to be high enough in the body to allow for the lack of stickiness there, the right level of it. Now, magnesium is famous for that, for thromboxane in the blood, how it regulates that to pull the platelet level and bring about less coagulation in the blood, and how it is used to even allow for better uptake and offloading of oxygen in the hemoglobin molecule. Like, it allows for the right amount of stickiness, and that's to its natural water-bearing capacity. And so this feature that it has really helps kind of smooth, elastify, and preserve through flexibility, the power and the mystery of flexibility. It helps the systems of the body to come together in the right way and not harm and not brittle and not break and destroy the membrane, and like calcium coming in and destroying and rigidifying. Magnesium buffers that and allows that to come in at the right rate, so there's not too much oxidation, etc. So this is a very easy to understand feature of magnesium. And so it's important at the gut level. And the more that you have gut problems, like gluten allergy, celiac, etc., Crohn's, IBS, the more leaky gut, the more that we have these problems, the more that we're going to need magnesium of high levels in the system to help take apart things. It not only plays a part in that, but even in candida and how it takes apart candida, what's it called again? Arabinose, the sugars that are created from this fungal outgrowth, or this, I guess you could call it fungal outgrowth, and this outgrowth of bacteria creates almost like a type of neurofiber. And these fibers it's called cross-linking. They all cross-link and get caught up together, and they're hard to take apart. Glutathione plays a key role here, and so does magnesium in taking apart these fibers and bringing about that viscosity and flexibility once again in those structures and taking that down. So glutathione is one of the key players here, but glutathione is created through magnesium ions at the end of its process coming together and through the ATP cycle, which is stabilized by magnesium. So everything is pointing to this. So so try to do it right, and pay attention to the magnesium factor here, because a lot of these other things that we're aiming at, we're aiming at one thing, but we're not seeing the deficiencies. And so we have to pay attention there. And a lot of the deficiencies can't just be cured in an isolated way. Magnesium can to some degree, but most of them need a synergy or a trinity, or what I call the threefold remedy. If you want to look that up, fermented cod liver oil, emu oil, which we don't sell, but whatever, and the transdermal magnesium in blue glass bottles from Zechstein Inside. So when you have these three together, you get a much stronger effect on these deficiencies, and you start to heal at the cellular level. When it comes to magnesium, always get the right stuff. Do not go cheap in this area. There's a lot of stuff out there that's $1.50 a week. And we're $3 a week, so you could say it's double the price. But there's a lot of fake stuff out there, even stuff that's pretending to be Zechstein. It's called ancient Permian, genuine Zechstein. There's all sorts of labels out there, and they're self-certified. And the only real official seal that you could find from the Vendam, which is the city in Holland from which this natural salt pillow formation is, where you find this natural state magnesium chloride stone called bischofite in large quantity, is using the logo Zechstein Inside. So if the Zechstein Inside logo doesn't appear, is not on the bottle, it's not from the city of Vendam. It's not the real thing. It's not even from Holland. So there's a lot of fake imports. The word Zechstein can't be controlled. So there's a lot of fake UPS, USP, pharmaceutical grade, and all these different companies, Spray and Permian and Trans, Ancient, and you see these different labelings, and they're using the word Zechstein abusively. So the only way to guarantee the right thing is probably to spend a little bit more. The thing is it's not that expensive. It's $3 a week to knock out the #1 deficiency in the world. And so it's not something that we should play with just getting super cheap on. It's kind of like getting really cheap on our salt and eggs and milk and bread and things like that are so basic. We want to spend money in these areas to where we can ensure a better product, because when it's not coming from the Zechstein Inside and that logo's not on the bottle, first off, it's solvent extracted, it's chemically treated, and so therefore it's not the same at the molecular level as far as chelation, uptake, bonding, conjugation, and all these other membrane transport and connectivity and calcium channel blocking. All the things that magnesium can do are limited by the fact that it's been chemically treated, and it's no longer, I guess you could say, sticky. It's sticky as a substance no matter what they do with it, but it's no longer sticky to a molecular level and able to chelate and make those bonds and conjugations in the right way. So you want to get something that's done right by nature and pure. And so this guarantees that. Not only does it guarantee that, but it also guarantees that people aren't mixing some good stuff with some bad stuff and then selling that as Zechstein or whatever, because as soon as the logo's not on the bottle, you can't rescan that bottle and tell what it is. So there's a way to just keep this fakery going. And so we want to try to find the right stuff. I guess most people, it's not that they're all malintentioned, but it's just that there's this kind of lack of consciousness around the fact that magnesium, it's all the same, it's just a mineral, do what you want with it, but it's not. And so the same with milk, the same with bread, everything is different. You just can't say pasteurized, like milk from these industrialized cattle is the same as small Jersey cattle, raw milk, and so it's just worlds apart. And so don't be fooled. So get the right stuff. That's for the first part. The second part is it's in glass. So if you want the right stuff, get it in glass. These glass blue bottles, and this is the signature series of the Zechstein Inside, as far as that type of quality that we could use to make sure the product has no endocrine disruptors, no chemical microplastic leaching into the product, and then that, once again, going into the body. Now, you don't want that in the body because we're trying to get those out of the body, and magnesium conjugations help pull that out of the body through enzymes. And so we don't want to bring some in at the molecular level on that same molecule. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So do the right thing, get it done right, and get the right price point. $25 for 2 months is very cheap, and it's a good price point to cover the deficiency of the century, basically. So come check us out at theheartoftradition.com and get your own.